Now we are going to see why power sharing is desirable. Why power sharing is desirable. Why is it desirable? There are reasons. Without reason, people wouldn't have opted for power sharing. So why is it desirable? That's what we are going to see now, my children. Under one, first there are two reasons. One is based on prudential. Prudential is all about careful, calculate. Carefully you are doing, thoughtfully, prudential, discreetful. So, prudential manner. Another is moral based. One is prudential reason. Another one is moral reason. Under the prudential reason, what we are going to see is, so power sharing accommodates social diversity. Under the prudential, it accommodates what? Social diversity. Social diversity will be there. You cannot, I told you, there is no monolingual monoculture. Every country will have its own different linguistic, cultural, traditional, that must be appreciated. So under the prudential, social what? Social diversity must be accommodated. Social diversity must be accommodated. So this is important. This is under the prudential one. And moreover, in this, by doing this, what happens? It reduces the conflict between whom? The people. It reduces the conflict. What? Between social groups. So it reduces the conflict between social groups. So that's why social diversity must be accommodated so that it reduces the conflict between the social group. That's the first reason why we have to go for power sharing. Next one is, by power sharing only, you will be able to have a stable political stability will be there. What is the second reason, my children? Political stability. What is the political stability? If a government is elected for 5 years, it must be there for 5 years. If it is going to be dissolved for every 6 months or every 1 year, and every time people will have to go for elect a new government, that is always temporary one, and people will lose in the concept of democracy itself. So that is something going to be a laughing stock. In not avoid that, so power sharing is a must, so that there will be a political stability. So because of political stability, what happened? There will be a competition among the political parties. Because if one party is ruling for 5 years, next time another party wants to rule. As a result, they want to do better than, much better than what this government has been doing. Now let us take the example of Congress government. Congress government was ruling, of course, 1947 to 1977. Again, there was a Janata government. Again, other parties came to power. Again, 1980. Again, 1984. Like that. Now, what happened? 2004 to 2014, Manmohan Singh government, coalition government. Even though Congress did not have majority, with the help of other parties' support, it was able to rule the country with the help, under the leadership of Manmohan Singh. After 2014, this NDA government, BJP government, it has been ruling 2014 till 2024, they are going to be there. So yes, political stability. And what is going to happen 2024? Anything could happen. This party may come to power or other party may also come to power. It depends upon how this government is going to deal with all the issues. So having said that, what is important? Political stability is very much important. By political stability only, what happens? Other political parties will be making competition. If political parties are competing with each other, ultimately the people will be the beneficiaries. Who will benefit out of this one? The people will become beneficiaries. So that's a healthy democracy, that's a must, for which power sharing is a must. This is a prudential reason. Third one, power sharing is also reasonable to promotion of national unity and integrity. National unity and integrity. This is important, so that India will never get what? Disintegrated. It has to stay united. The more united we stand, the better for us. United, we stand, and divided, we fall. So that should be the approach. So having said that, here national unity and integrity can be protected, political stability will be always kept, and social diversity must be accommodated because it reduces the conflict of what? Conflict of what? Fighting with each other, quarreling, accusing, all those kind of, and because always it ends with violent methods. So this is what is called looting, arson, setting fire, and public will be disturbed. All these kind of things can be avoided in the power sharing system. So these are all the part of which one? Prudential reason. Under the prudential reason, my children, why is power sharing desirable? Under the prudential topic, you must, what is the prudential? Prudence stands for careful thinking, careful thought. You do everything by thinking 1,000 times, then you take a decision, then you go ahead. So that's for prudential reason. There are 3 reasons. One is social diversity must be accommodated, because if social diversity is not accepted, only majority people we will rule and minority will have to obey. That's not the way. Here everybody has to be given equal importance. That's called social diversity is being accommodated, because it reduces the conflict between social groups, so that people will not fight with each other. As a result, common man will not get suffered. That's one of the things. Second one, there will be political stability. Under political stability, a government which has a tenure of 5 years, it can run for another 5 years, and after 5 years, another government may come to power. As a result, what happened? There will be continuity. There will be continuity, and people won't be suffering. And third one, national unity and integrity can be promoted. The promotion of national integrity and unity must be done, so that the younger generation like you will be aware of what a country stands for, how country is more important than individual desires. So for these 3 reasons, these are all under prudential reason. You must be able to say, my children, why is power sharing desirable? You must say under prudential the 3 points. Next we are going to see moral reason. And moral is all about there is no policy. What you do, moral is all about something within you. It should be part of your life. Discipline is part of your life, and even punctuality is part of your discipline. Even being moral also part of your discipline. There is no rule to control you. It is something part of your life. Under the moral reason, first one, it's a very moral reason is a very deeper reason for power sharing. It's a very deeper. Why it's very deeper? Because it gives lot of ideas. Under moral reason, the power sharing is very important. According to moral reason, power sharing is desirable to produce an accountable, responsible, and legitimate government. The government whichever comes to power. Now Narendra Modi government is there. It's elected by the people. Yudhiyurappa government is elected by the people. That's called legitimate. A government which is properly, through proper channel, elected by the people, that government is called legitimate government. When a government has become legitimate and is answerable to people, accountable to people, responsible to the action. So answerable, accountable, responsible, legitimate, all these things are there. These are all the moral reasons. Why is power sharing desirable? Because very deeper ramification. Under moral reason, you can say a government which is legitimate. What is legitimate? Which is elected by the people in a free and fair election. That's called legitimate. And moreover, they are accountable and answerable and responsible. So they are accountable, answerable, responsible, legitimate. These are all the moral reasons. That is the reason we need power sharing among the government. Next one we are going to see, it implies maximum popular participation through decentralization of powers, so that people would be consulted on how they are to be governed. What is the meaning of decentralization? Decentralization and centralization. When a country is ruled by a king or monarch, that is centralized system. Whereas decentralization, the power is distributed among all the organs. State government, central government divides its power among state government, and state government gives its power to district level goes to taluk level, from taluk level, village level, from Halli to Gully or Gully to Delhi, everybody will have equal power. That's called what we call decentralization. So the decentralization is very important, because here even at a village also, a serpent takes a decision in the interest of his village, and he has to consult his own people, because he is for the people and elected by the people, and he has to work with the people, and whatever he does, the people must be in the know of what is happening. So that's the important thing happens. Because of this power sharing, the people will be consulted, and people will not be overlooked, people will not be neglected, people will not be ignored. A healthy democracy where people will be kept in what? Fully aware. They should be aware of everything what's happening. They should not be kept in dark. So that's what happens in moral. Under the moral, it's a very deeper one. Second one, the government which is legitimate, they're accountable, answerable, responsible to their actions, and they cannot run away from their responsibilities. And moreover, it's a decentralization process. Under the decentralization, the power is distributed equally among its members, so that people will be consulted before taking any important decisions, and people will never feel let down or neglected. So these are all the reasons why power sharing must be what? Important. Now why it's desirable? Are you with me, my children? Now you should have understood by this time. Why is power sharing desirable? You must know there are two things. What are the two things here? One is prudential, another is what? Moral. Another prudential reason we have seen, because social diversity must be accommodated, because it reduces the conflict between social groups, so that people will be able to coexist in a peaceful manner. There will be no what? Unrest among the people. Next one, political stability will be there. Any government which has been elected by the people will be there for 5 years, so that 5 years, whatever it is the tenure, it will complete, and whatever assurance, promises they have made in the election manifesto, they will be able to fulfill them, so that by the time when they go for next election, and they will be in a better position to say, we promised it and we got it done, please vote for us. If they are done, people will vote for them. If they are not done, people will reject and tell so for another one. So this is what our political stability will be there. And third one, very important, national integrity and unity, that must be promoted. That's important, because without nation we are nowhere. So let's take the case of Palestinian people. They have no country on their own. They are struggling like anything. There are many people who don't have their own country, okay, because their country is occupied Israel. So all kind of things are going on, my children. So social diversity must be accommodated, political stability will be there, and national unity and integrity will be promoted. These are the three reasons you must say under the prudential reason. What are the moral reasons for power sharing desirable? You must say it's a very deeper one. What is very deeper? Because it is a deeper reason for power sharing. The reason is very deeper for power sharing. That should say very deeper reasons for power sharing. And second one, the government is legitimate. Which is the government legitimate? The government which is elected by the people, that's a legitimate government. A government which is not elected by the people, that is illegitimate. When the government is legitimate, they are answerable, accountable, responsible to the people. They can't do anything according to the whims and fancies. That is something cannot happen. That's what all about legitimate. It's a moral reason. And next one is decentralization. What do you mean by decentralization? Where power is distributed among top to bottom. As a result, even people in higher class or lower class, even downtrodden, people who are living in a village corner also, he will be consulted before taking any decision, because ultimately he is the person who is going to face the consequences. So all those things will be important when it comes to moral reason, my children. It's a very important 3-mark question. If they ask why is power sharing desirable, you should be able to say in here you put a tabular form in which prudential, write down all the 3 reasons, in moral, write down all the 3 reasons. This is something you should keep in mind, my children. Next one we are going to see, having said that, now we are going to see what are the forms of power sharing. Next one, what are you going to see, my children? What are the forms of power sharing? So power sharing, what are the forms of power sharing? There are many forms of power sharing. Now we are going to see one by one what are the forms of power sharing. What are the forms of power sharing when it comes to in modern democracies? Because power sharing is a must, as I told you all other. This is undivided political power. See, for a long time it was believed that all power of government must reside in one person or a group of persons located in one place. Previously, when country was ruled by this kingdom, Maharaja, all those time, people thought that rulers, the kings were equal to God, and they had the legitimate power of ruling us. And people thought that only one ruler and he must be king, and after his death, his son will be hereditary. This kind of thing was going on once. and because of thinkers, political thinkers like Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, and here French revolutionary people. So all these people brought a lot of awareness among the people. Now it has been possible now for a long time. The power of a government must not reside in one personal group. It was further, if the power to decide is dispersed, it would not be possible to take quick decisions and enforce them. People thought that if power is going to be distributed among themselves and it is going to be a different one, if everything is under one person and he will be able to take a quick decision, that's good for that's what they thought. But these notions are now completely, nobody wants to be ruled under any king or queen. Even there are queen in Nepal, king is there only nominal. Even British queen is there only nominal. They are all just what titular head. They have no power. Just for the sake of 14 countries in the world consider British queen as their first president, including England, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, all the 14 countries. Further, there is no president because they think that queen is the titular head. So even today, somebody they have given only titular head. They have no role in it. But whereas in India, Republic, we have a president, working president, because he is elected by the people due process. And this president, anybody could. Now, our president, Honorable President, Mr. Ramnath Kovind, once he was oppressed class. One that same community was repressed by the same Indian people. Now he has been given the top post. So this kind of things happen only in democracy. So power, this is all because of the power sharing. So having said that, my children, in democracy, people rule themselves through the institution of self-government. That's important. In democracy, people rule themselves. They elect a person, through them they rule, and whenever they are not able to perform to their mark, he will be thrown out. So in democracy, people rule themselves through institutions of self-government. In a good democratic government, due respect is given to diverse groups and use that existing society. Everybody must be given equal importance. Nobody should be given more important than others. That's important now, wrong. It's absolutely incorrect. That cannot be accepted. That cannot be allowed. Every government, every person in a country must be given what equal importance. Everyone has a choice in the shaping of political policies. No matter what, whether rich or poor, you must be given equal importance. No matter what, whether you are in Tamil Nadu or Karnataka, Jammu and Kashmir, or Assam or Gujarat, everybody must have a voice in the shaping of public policies. So therefore, it follows a democracy. Political power should be described. So, first in the modern democracies, power sharing arrangements can take many forms. So let us take one among them. First, power is shared among the different organs of the government. You must be knowing what are the different amongst the different organs of the government: legislature, executive, and judiciary. So here power is shared. So okay, now first we are going to see horizontal distribution of power. What are we going to make sure that? Horizontal. First one we are going to see horizontal distribution of power. Horizontal distribution of power. Under this system, what happens is here under the horizontal power system. In this system, what happens, my children? What happened here? See, it allows the different organs of government placed at the same level to exercise different powers. So here, the checks and balances is there. What is there, my children? Checks and balances. Checks and balances all about, even though the judges of High Court or Supreme Court are appointed by the government, the same judges can criticize when the government does not do its job properly. That's what checks and balances. Okay, and the three organs have been given equal power. As a result, one cannot overlap the other. Okay, my children. So power among the various institutions, what happened? They work in tandem. As a result, there the checks and balances will be there. So this is what very important. They play a vital role, my children. So this is what horizontal power distribution. Under the horizontal distribution of power, checks and balances will be there. What are the three organs? Here, legislature, executive, and judiciary will have to work in tandem so that each organ checks the others. This results in balance of power among the various institutions. So, in your class, last year also you must have come across in the civics how you have ministers and other people exercise power. At the same time, they are responsible to the parliament and state government. Just because they are minister does not mean they can do whatever they feel like. And whatever they do, they must be answerable to parliament and the state assembly. So this is what all about checks and balances. So here, this is what all about what my children. In the horizontal distribution of power, there will be checks and balances. All the three organs will have to work in a tandem, and there will be none can exercise a power. None of the organs can exercise unlimited power. None of the organization can exercise what? Organization can what? Exercise different which one? Extra unlimited power, the organs. So it has to be each organ must work within its this result a balance of power among the various institutions. So this is what all about horizontal distribution of power. Next we are going to see vertical distribution of power, my children.